Time pockets and changed rhythms. The first place to look is not a drawer or an app, but the new pockets of time that quietly open inside a relationship. When someone creates recurring hours that are no longer shared, late nights that repeat, sudden solo errands that cluster on certain days, or a new hobby schedule that always falls at the same vulnerable hours, those pockets become the physical space where another life can quietly develop. This isn't about accusing a spouse for taking time to herself. It's about noticing the pattern. When availability shifts consistently, when answers about where and when become brief or rehearsed, and when the rhythm of the day no longer includes the two of you, something in the relationship's map has moved. Respond by charting the change calmly. Note dates and times. Describe the felt shift to your partner without anger, and ask for a conversation about how to rebuild shared time or explain the new schedule honestly. Practical protection follows clarity. Secure paperwork and finances quietly if you feel vulnerable, but avoid covert actions. The aim is truth and dignity, not entrapment. Emotional aftereffects in shared spaces. The second place secrets leave traces is in how presence and absence change the mood of the home. Pay attention to how she returns from private moments. Is she lighter and more present, or quieter and oddly distracted? Does conversation land with warmth or with a polite distance that never quite warms? These tiny residues are the footprints of attention. When part of her heart is elsewhere, the home's atmosphere thins in ways that telephone logs and receipts cannot explain. The evidence is not a single late reply, but the accumulated climate, laughter that no longer reaches the eyes, touch that lacks the follow-through of emotional connection, and an ease that becomes a practiced performance rather than spontaneous comfort. When you notice this, name it simply. I feel a distance when you come back from your calls. Then offer space for honesty rather than accusation. If patterns persist, request a bounded step toward repair. A week of agreed check-ins, joint calendar transparency for major plans or couples work, and evaluate whether actions match words over time. Curated displays and staged openness. The third place where affairs hide is in the very things offered to prove there is nothing to hide. People who conceal often give controlled evidence, a screenshot of an innocuous message, a small photo from a public event, or a rehearsed story that soothes suspicion without altering behavior. These curated displays calm anxiety, but rarely change the underlying map of private attention. The difference between genuine repair and performance is that repair alters habits. Staged openness soothes without fixing the behavior that caused worry. Listen to how these offerings make you feel over weeks. Do you feel reassured and see real changes in routine? Or does the unease return despite the occasional proof? If reassurance is temporary, the place you're seeing is a show, not a solution. The ethical response is to ask for structure that restores predictability, not to demand passwords or to invade privacy, but to negotiate fair, time-limited steps that rebuild trust, and to make it clear that transparency must be sustained, not theatrical. Financial and social footprints. The fourth place to examine is the architecture of shared life, money, social calendars, and the narratives that stitch days together. Affairs often leave signatures in how priorities get rearranged, unexplained expenses that correspond to pockets of secrecy, new friendships that appear in stories but not in shared planning, or emotional energy that flows to someone mentioned repeatedly, yet never integrated into joint decisions. This is not a call to rummage through accounts for the thrill of discovery. It is a reminder that patterns in spending, scheduling, and social emphasis reveal priorities. If the map of your life together begins to include destinations, names, or costs that were never part of your plans, treat that as information to be discussed, not as ammunition to be used. Ask practical questions. How do our finances reflect our shared life? Who is involved in plans for the future? And can we agree on basic transparency for major commitments? If answers are evasive, consult a professional for legal and financial advice so you protect your rights while remaining lawful and ethical. Speak from observation, not accusation. When any of these places shifts, The most powerful initial step is a calm, neutral statement of what you've noticed and how it affects you emotionally. Avoid surveillance, password theft, or secret tracking. Those actions destroy moral authority and can create legal exposure. Instead, choose 3 wise actions. Speak with measured curiosity, protect your life lawfully, and invite professional help. Speak using simple sentences that describe behavior and feeling. Lately, we spend less time together, and it makes me feel distant. Protect by securing important documents and consulting a lawyer if there are financial risks. Invite help through a counselor or mediator who can hold the conversation without the heat of accusation. Set specific, limited, and reasonable boundaries as an experiment rather than an ultimatum. Ask for shared practices that make daily life predictable for a trial period. Mutually agreed planning for social weekends, a short phase of counseling, or defined times when both partners will be fully present without devices. These measures test willingness to repair without demanding invasive proof. The point is to see whether behavior changes under fair structure. If it does, repair may be possible. If it does not, the refusal to adapt becomes data in your decision-making. If you receive honesty, decide what repair requires for you. Repair is not theatrical sweetness. It is repeated, measurable change over time. If you are offered words, ask for specific actions and a review date. Trust rebuilds through predictability and availability, not promises alone. If you receive evasion or refusal, do not escalate into illegal behavior or bitter traps. Instead, prepare your life practically. Consult with trusted advisors, secure your finances, and gather emotional support. Then choose the path that protects your dignity. Remember the difference between noticing and proving. Observing new time pockets, emotional after effects, curated proofs, and shifts in the architecture of shared life gives you a map of what is happening without needing to become a detective. Use that map to create a conversation that invites truth, to implement reasonable boundaries that test willingness to repair, and to protect your life lawfully while you seek clarity. The objective is not humiliation or revenge, but clear, honest decisions about what you will accept in your life. Act with calm authority. Rage hands your power to the situation. Steadiness keeps the moral ground. Speak your needs plainly, protect what matters, and give the relationship a chance to show its real priorities through behavior rather than words. If the places you observe resolve into openness and repair, then your steadiness will have given the relationship a second chance. If they do not, you will leave from strength and with your life intact, which is the better outcome of all.